This is obviously Lord Thaddeus Gray. It's about time I started getting back to cryptids. That's my niche, and that's what I'm going to be talking about today. I've kind of mentioned this critter before, but it's so interesting and fascinating to me, partly because I am a big fan of the Underworld franchise. Of course, the hybrid and all that. Michael Corvinus is one of my favorite all-time characters of all time. But moving on from that, this is going to be, bear the noise, I live by a train yard, this is how it is. This is going to be about the Pricolici. What is a Pricolici? It is a vampiric creature that supposedly, very similar to the Romanian version of the werewolf, is very undead. Again, I'm kind of keeping on this trope for a not trope, but this niche for a reason, because it's related to one of my earlier videos. The Pricolici is a creature that many times was originally a werewolf, who of course, the Romanian version, or the far Eastern European version of the werewolf, is of course a person who died a violent death, unsatisfied with life, whatever. And of course they came back as a shape-shifting monster. The Pricolici is something a little bit beyond that. It has similar connotations. However, sometimes a werewolf who has died again and come back, they're a vampiric creature. They live on the blood of individuals who they stalk, kill, rip apart. You name it, these guys can do it. The thing is, their features are mostly wolf-like. They can change into a wolf, just like they could when they were a werewolf. But they have a real powerful craving for the human blood in which they must sustain themselves with. Now, there have been many stories about these things, and believe me, they're all pretty frightening, to say the least. It kind of goes into something along these lines. You notice a lot of these beings supposedly are people that have passed away violently or in a very unsatisfactory manner. It's very interesting, don't you think? That it seems like people who are unsatisfied with life, they continue the desire to continue with life, even in unlife. It's like there is something like a goal they had that was not met. It's very fascinating to me about that. You know, those who are restless. The gypsy soul would be another term for this. Basically, an individual who they have to keep living, even if they're no longer living. Maybe it was for an evil purpose, so therefore whatever dark forces have granted them the ability to change into a beast, and therefore they can seek more prey, and possibly maybe even continue with the twisted goals they had in life, or the previous unlife, or whatever you want to call it. That to me is what the Pricolici symbolizes. I think all of us have a desire to keep going. We all have this deep, dark, I keep mentioning secret self, and there's a reason for that. There's a part of us, deep within, whether it be our lusts, our desires. There are certain things that keep us going, when maybe we should actually be, how can I say this the proper way, focusing on what we have now. Us as human beings, we have this greed in us, whether it be lust, a desire for ambition. Trust me, I can understand that. We all have that. Or a desire to possibly do things which we could not get away with in this mortal coil. That, to me, is what the Pricolici definitely symbolizes. Those unhealthy appetites. Almost like the Nephilim. Something to think about there. There have been a few bits of literature written on these creatures, mainly just folkloric tales, things like that. But to me, it symbolizes something that is the ends of both entities that are quite frightening, the vampire and the werewolf. The ultimate hybrid fusion of something that is just something out of this world and not pleasant. However, there have been stories, not just of the Pricolici, but of werewolves, supposedly years and years ago. I'm talking about like centuries ago. There was this man, this is back during the time of the werewolf purge. And what I mean by that is supposedly the church rounded up people just like, for witchcraft, vampirism, you name it, these guys have done it for nefarious purposes, most likely land or someone they didn't like, whatever. But there was this one man. He said, yes, I'm a werewolf. He was trying to, I think, save his own life, but he may have been onto something. That he supposedly was a being who was given the power and even revived from the grave by God himself to fight the forces of the devil. Interesting in itself, right? So maybe, these creatures, whether it be Pricolici, werewolf, whatever, maybe they're not completely evil. Maybe there are some, just like the dog man. DW says there's different sources, right? Maybe not every entity that is passed into the realm of becoming a creature, a person who normally in the past had a mortal life. Maybe not all of these things are evil. That's something else I want to kind of press upon you. Now, I'm not saying there's anything like superheroes or any crap like that. No. I'm talking about maybe a twisted desire to continue doing the right thing in their mind. This has been a very powerful driving force within many people. More than you might think. So I'm thinking to myself, maybe, it's more than just a desire to continue doing evil. Maybe it's a twisted desire to protect people, or even try what they would believe is the righteous path. Now, do I believe that is truly the right way to go? Obviously not. I mean, come on. Anyone who has, any following of the faith understands, no, that's not the right way to do it. And believe me, I would not want any knowledge of those kind of rituals anyway, to be honest with you. It's like the skinwalker. No thank you. But it's something to really, really think on. I believe very firmly that the werewolf and the Pricolici, at times, these people reborn as creatures, maybe a few of them have a desire to continue their mission, whatever it might be. Now, maybe I'm speaking too much Hollywood, who knows? But again, you have to remember, every fiction is based on some kind of fact. I'm just going to leave it at that. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And again, you guys try to keep an eye out for Sean, man. I'm trying to get him to 1,000 views on his channel. So believe me, I'm going to leave a description in the link. I'm going to continue doing these kind of videos. You guys be blessed, and y'all be safe.